Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and poleni sana for the technical hitch that we have just had. Welcome to Konnekt Live, the Wednesday drive, and we always say this is the most interactive car live show in the 254 and in East Africa at large. Poleni sana for that. No, the other hitch, we had to get off this link and go to a different link. So wacha tungojee watu waingie kwa live. Let's just wait to see who is coming up live. Karibuni sana. Yes. Now we are back on. We are back on, but on a different link. Na leo tumebadilisha mandhari kidogo. So we start with first things first. So because of the delay, I'm going to make sure that you guys get some some extra time pale Masaya news. Na you know how we do. We start by telling us where you're watching us from, and then we can start with this Q&A. Asanteni sana. Leo tumebadilisha mandhari kidogo. Yes, I hope this is quiet and it is going to work perfectly. So karibuni sana. Welcome. So let me just go through the comments that I'm seeing here, which are quite interesting. Kenyan Mafia anasema mwezi mpya huyo jamaa ashaanza network yenyu. Shida hata si network, shida was a technical hitch with connecting the camera and going live. That is where the problem was. Benson Otonda anasema kwani missile imenifikia? Missile bado haijanifikia baba. Sisi tuko na missile detection system pale, so ikikuja taifanya ile kitu. Huku kuna Iron Dome. David Kamau saying tuned in from Githongori. Komen anasema wagwan from Diaspora. Enoch Mwendwa is watching from Juja. We call it Jujamaica. We also have Ichi Benjamin is saying mi hata kitu naomba sana nifanye review ya 2020 manual transmission Axio G grade please. Well, I would actually love to, but the problem with this very rare specs is manual, kuzipata ni ngumu. But generally, it's a good car. The only difference is that it's manual, and manual vehicles are becoming quite rare these days. Na shida ni that people decided to be lazy and drive automatic cars. But there are some fun facts about automatic cars. Like if you look at the Toyota Hilux with the manual transmission versus the Toyota Hilux with the automatic transmission, you will learn that the one with the automatic transmission has more torque. And this goes for almost all vehicles. So one thing about manual vehicles is that the only thing that they'll supersede the automatic counterparts is that they are fun to drive and you get to have more control of the vehicle. But the days are gone tulikuwa na magari ziko na shida za brakes. But anyway, once we have that Axio, I will make sure we do it. Let's see. Josh Homan is glad to be here. Thank you, Josh, from shifting from the other link. And his Mwanza anasema vipi humuhumu wamekata net. Shida hata haikuwa net, shida ilikuwa connection nyingine hapa. Net ni mwecheche. Jilid is saying tuned in from Kiondo Nakuru. Maswali mengi sana zilete Jilid. Ichi Benjamin anasema nataka kubuy hiyo gari na nitakupea kazi, tafuta hiyo gari ufanye review. Asante, kazi ikikuja tunaifanya, lakini hiyo itabidi tumetafuta sana, especially for a 2020 Axio. Getting it manual, it's not impossible, but ni kibarua. It calls for a lot of patience. Tuendelee hapa na hii live yetu. Felix Were is saying niaje Okabi, live from Busia, karibu tuende Sofia. Sofia is a very interesting town. Maybe Felix Were is going to tell you more about that border town. I think Sofia is a town that is in no man's land. Tuendelee. Naona Kaizen Mark, greetings Wakabi, Subaru BP5 wagon. They look good, but are they good reliability wise? BP5s are not bad. In fact, they are lookers. Mimi kwa all the Outbacks, I think BP5 is one of my favorite. Yeah, BP5 is actually one of my favorite. The only challenge with the BP5 is consumption. Yes, consumption is the only challenge. Ground clearance, kama unaishi place fiti, it should not be a big worry, but they are nice cars. Consumption is a bit high, and if you get the naturally aspirated ones, they are a bit lazy as well. Tuendelee. Edwin Momanyi is saying last way huku nijibu question on Mitsubishi 2002 Airtrek about is it being good for first time car. Leo please gusia hiyo hata kidogo. Well, the Airtrek is a nice car, but it looks good. It's a vehicle that is designed to be a wagon stroke crossover hapo katikati. And one thing about Airtreks, some of them came with very good engines. The only small problem you would have with an Airtrek is the fuel consumption might be a little bit higher compared to these other cars. But in terms of reliability, they are not bad. If you happen to break a light or something, you might have problems with having or with getting body parts. But the rest of the parts, since they are compatible with other Mitsubishis, should not be a very big problem. For a first-time car, I would like to know, why did you choose the Airtrek for a first-time car? Because that will dictate a lot. I will not say it's a bad car for a first-time car, but I feel there could be better cars. But this is good if you're getting it at deal fiti. If you're getting it at a very good deal, then we can consider it. But if you have other options, we can maybe go through the other options first. Let me see. Evans Mugambi is saying, is the 2018 GT2 Impreza with FB16 as low as the previous ones that had the EL15? And would you advise one to buy one? Edwin, I would say, without a doubt, and these are my personal opinions, I am happy that I would say EL15 was good riddance. FB16s, they're actually more reliable if you compare them to the EL15. The EL15, because the EL15s, they had this habit of consuming oil mapema, and they were also lazy, plus they used to consume a lot of fuel. Well, what about the FB16? The FB16 is a flat 4 1.6 liter boxer engine. Is it reliable? Yes, it is. Is it easier to maintain? Yes, it is, because unlike the EL15 whose valve train was operated via a timing belt, the FB16 is operated via a timing chain. So with the valve train, you're sorted. However, FB16s are very sensitive when it comes to engine oil. For instance, today I had to send over an engine to our garage, Neon Mobility in Eldoret, and that was simply because somebody who has an Impreza, but not the GT, theirs is the GP, with the FB16, used the wrong oil. And these FB engines, they have been designed with some very, very fine sieves in their oil galleries. So one of the problem was the engine faced oil starvation, like Hiace. So he had to get a new engine, and the cost of the engine is around 100,000. Between 100,000 to 120, depending on who is actually selling the engine. So yes, FB16s are very reliable, but you have to use the correct oil. Sawa. In terms of sluggishness, they are not bad, and their fuel consumption is way better than that of EL15s. That is in my opinion. And I'm talking about an EL15 that is paired to an automatic transmission. Tuendelee. MC Nyerere is saying, mimi nayo siwezani na automatic cars. Nimejaribu, najipataga, nimeboeka. We all have preferences. Even for me, I love, I'm a manual purist, but one thing I have to tell you is that with manual vehicles, they are quite addictive. But to be honest, autos are more refined. They are, to the people who are lazy, or the lazy drivers, or the people who cannot drive manuals, they might be appealing. However, where we are looking at an era where we have very complex automatic transmissions like the DSG, which can shift within milliseconds. The other one we can also talk about the 6-speed autos. Also the CVTs come into place there. So yeah, we are living in very interesting times, but I always say save the manual. Tuendelee. Karim Tosh is saying, hey Eric, first time as a first-time car owner, would you advise me to buy a Toyota Voxy 2006 or 2007 model? Before I answer this question, bana, kama una chat pale, cheza na super chat so that we also get some chums to continue, developing content and motivating the entire crew towards curating more content, and also morale ni muhimu sana. So let's get back to super chat iko hapo. You can click on the super chat, and whatever that you will give goes a long way into making sure that you guys have amazing content. Well, about the Noah and the Voxys, they are not bad, especially the 206, 207s, but their fuel consumption can be a bit wanting if you compare them to the newer Noahs. However, if you're using it for work and you drive it properly, zinakuanga sawa. But one thing to note is just avoid the Noahs that have been used as matatus ama imetumika vibaya. Try to stick to a Noah or a Voxy that has been used privately and one that has a very clean body. Sawa. We proceed. Murioki Marigi is saying, vipi kiongozi, Murioki ndani ya mjengo. Karibu sana Murioki. And we are tunafaa tupatane kidogo. Tupiga story tu hapa na pale. And by the way, tomorrow being a Thursday, thinking we can have an episode, right? We can, there's a very interesting assignment I had yesterday where one of our clients, who is an avid viewer of Konnekt, requested us to source a Prado J150, and they had a Prado J120. So they wanted to offset the 120 and use the money as a deposit for the 150. So it was a very interesting business transaction. So if you want to see the details of that video and also a brief review of the Prado J120, you can have it. You can see it tomorrow, Thursday. Yeah, but vote pale. Should we upload this episode tomorrow? Si vizuri una upload episode alafu nobody watches. Sawa. So it's always good to hear from you guys if you want this episode on a Thursday evening from 8 p.m. same time. Ama mnaitaka siku gani ingine? Tuendelee. So Morioki, we need to meet up. Who else is here? Elliot, wait, okay. Kuna moja Kevin BNS is saying, hi Eric, how is the Subaru Impreza N10 2007 for first-time car owner? It's a good car, but it highly depends on which engine is on the vehicle. Avoid the EL15s. If it's a 2-liter, it's a good car. Also, be very careful with the maintenance, especially maintenance of the valve train. Sawa. Elias Nganga is saying, hello, Eric, 2007, 2008 Outback, either 2-liter or 2.5. Is it a good car? The 2007, 2008 Outbacks didn't come with a 2-liter engine. The Legacy is the one that came with a 2-liter engine. The ones Outbacks came with a 2.5 EJ25 for this year of manufacture, and this is probably a BR9. Yeah, it's probably a BR9. BR9s were very transitional. So the other thing, even before we talk about the engine displacement, we'll figure out whether it comes with the automatic transmission or with the lineartronic CVT. It is very important because BR9s were very, very, very transitional vehicles. So just a moment, there's also something as we answer that question, something else I would like us to maybe consider is, do you ever feel, most people would be scared to buy vehicles with big engines, and sometimes they have a point, because if you drive an Outback badly, it's going to give you some big problems, especially with fuel consumption. So ni vizuri ukue pia umejipanga kama unanunua Outback. So yes, those were the BR9s. Na BR9s, angalia kama there are some that came with the FB engines, the FB25 engines, and there are some, the later models came with the FB25. So it's good to know which Outback you're getting, and also with the transmission, some came with the auto and the others came with the manual. Washington Washington Rapol is saying, how do I solve the Mitsubishi Lancer CK4 1998 issues for good? Get a very good wiring guy, and if you can't, get a new wiring harness. That will solve your wiring issues. Good wiring guy and a new wiring harness. David Kamau Maina is saying, why are Prado Kakadu always overpriced? Tell me one feature that is in the VXL and not on the Kakadu. Market perception. Yes, I must say that there is the market perception bit with the Kakadus, but the only feature that is in the Kakadu and not the VXL is the rear infotainment system, infotainment system vitiza nyuma. So the rear passengers, the passengers on the second row of seats can also get to enjoy a very good infotainment system. Also, the sound system is different on the Kakadu and the VXL. However, sometimes I feel the difference in price is not really worth it. That's my verdict yangu, but I will say again, that is purely my opinion. So the difference between the VXL and the Kakadu really does not justify the price difference. Yeah. Waweru Maina is saying, what's your opinion on the Suzuki SX4 S-Cross? Any common known challenges I should expect as a first-time car owner? The SX4 S-Cross is actually a good car, but I think you left out on the year of manufacture. I would really appreciate if you gave us the year of manufacture, but I'm assuming these are fresh imports, so probably 2018, 2019. Those SX4s are actually very good cars. My only problem with the SX4 is they have how do I say this politely? They have a face that only a mother would love. Anyway, but they say beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So kuna wasi wanaweza kuwa napenda hizi magari na kuna wasi like me who think they look weird. But in terms of how they operate, they are good cars. They are quite practical, very affordable for a crossover SUV, subcompact crossover SUV. If you get it with all grip four-wheel drive, that is even better. In fact, I would advise you to get the SX4 with all grip. Tuendelee. Antis Bonds anasema acha tuanze na the NV350 you feature today. Is it a good alternative for the highest, considering the YD25 series has really been sought after? Na zile shida za kitambo kidogo walisort. Wacha niweke simu chini, we get to have this conversation. Is the NV350 a better alternative to the Toyota Hiace H200? We start with the pricing point. The NV350 is 1 million Kenya shillings cheaper or even more compared to the Hiace H200, because if you look at and we are talking about foreign used units, and we are not talking about the high roof commuter long wheelbase versions. We are talking about the standard KDH 200, the one that is often called, this is not the correct way to call them, but uko kwa street wanazita 7L. The correct name is H200. So NV350 sahi, like that one I featured today, is going for around 2.5. Then if you buy that is if you buy it as the rebadged Isuzu Como. But if you get it as an NV350, the price skyrockets to around 2.8. The Hiace, on the other hand, is going for around 3.8, 3.5. And in fact, as soon as yesterday, showrooms in Mombasa were quoting as high as 4 million on the standard wheelbase van. So in terms of reliability, the Hiace wins hands down. In fact, I would say that in terms of comparison, it would be very hard to compare a Toyota Hiace to a Nissan Caravan NV350. However, there are a few people who take the risks with NV350s. Like if you have seen a certain company called Quick Shuttle, anakuanga kule mtaya Kitale huko, they use NV350s, and I'm yet to know why, but we are going to have an episode to get to know why these guys use the NV350 hivyo sana. One of the reasons maybe is the cost, but we need to know how they go around the reliability, because the YD25 is not the most reliable engine in the world. We have to agree on that. It has its fair share of problems. Although it has been updated over time, I would still not... I would need to see it in action, and maybe even past the 200,000 kilometers mark and see how it's behaving to 100% guarantee that the NV350 would be a good vehicle for a matatu. However, kama unafanya kazi ya Hiace, kama unafanya kazi ya deliveries, the NV350 will work perfectly. Yes, but kazi ya matatu, hapo ndipo I will try and draw the line, because when it comes to matatus, these cars are abused. We continue. Patu Anjao is saying, ameingia. Kenyan Mafia is saying, what do you think about upgrading from a Golf hatchback 1.4 to a Volkswagen all-truck in terms of reliability, fuel consumption? If you're graduating from a VW Golf, the all-truck, I think you should be talking about the Passat all-truck. The Passat, it's, we don't have so many changes, only that now the all-truck comes with all-wheel drive, has a Haldex center diff. It has better clearance. It would be a good upgrade, actually a very, very, very good upgrade. Yeah, because a small change in fuel consumption maybe, but not very much. One thing about VWs is that their fuel consumption is not very bad. In fact, if you compare a Volkswagen Passat all-truck to a Subaru Outback, the all-truck would it actually has better fuel consumption comparing it to the Outback. Tuendelee. Elijah Kiplagat, niaje Wakabi, naweza pata Honda Legend zile za 3500 to 4000. I'm your fan since ile time ya huko kwingine. Locally, ni tricks. I had seen one a while back, but maybe you try and import one. Ichi anauliza kama tulianza na maombi kweli. Kuna unaweza tuongoza kwa maombi. Tuendelee kwa hiyo swali lingine. Patu Anjao is saying, what are your insights as far as 2014 Mitsubishi Pajero Sport and the previous model Mitsubishi Shogun and the rivalry of the two mentioned ones? So the Pajero Sport is basically an SUV version of the Mitsubishi L200. In other markets, the L200 is called naitangwa nini? L200 iko na majina mingine. Triton, yes. It's also called the Triton. So it's basically the SUV version of the Triton. Now, they have similar drivetrains. They are not bad. So, but when you shift to the Shogun, now the Shogun is a proper... It's DNA. It has a... so the Sport has a... The Pajero Sport has an L200 DNA. The Shogun now it's a true Pajero, the SUV version, not the one that is based on the pickup. So, I think these are two vehicles in different categories. They have different offerings in terms of engine options, and even what is this other thing called? Engine options, comfort, size, even the four-wheel drive technology that is used on both can be quite different. So it is good to see there are two cars in different categories. If we are talking about the Pajero Sport versus Fortuner versus MUX versus Everest, it would make a lot of sense. David Mutama is watching from Diaspora. And by the way, talking about Diaspora, Peter Nganga from Republic of Saudi Arabia, nani mwingine? Kuna Kenito wa Qatar. Say wako sawa. If you're watching, bana, and by the way, not only those, the guys who watch Konnekt live from Gulf, tafadhali, if you're watching, tell us you're okay. You can drop a comment hapo, so that at least tuko hapo. Watu wa Hiace tafadhali, na watu wa Kuwait, watu wa Bahrain, watu wa Qatar. Let us know if you're okay. James Kitari is saying, hi, watching from Kiserian with a budget of 1.4 million. As a pata Mazda 3 Exile mwaka gani locally used. That one you can get maybe a 2014 hapo. Hiyo itapatikana. 2014 hapo itapatikana vizuri sana. We have We have. Okay, let me see. What wamepotea? Okay, Jilida anasema to upload your episode. Alex Kaka from Saudi Arabia. Thank you so much, Alex. It's good to know that you guys are safe and sound and you're still representing us from Saudi. Let's see. Mercedes-Benz. Oh, Jilid is saying we upload that video. So yes, now that we have one person backing that up, we might have that video tomorrow at 8 p.m. So stay tuned. Diaspora is saying Mercedes-Benz A180 for the first-time car owner from 2019. They are good vehicles if you can afford them. They are very nice. Yeah, especially the A180 is very sporty. It's it's not as boring as the B180. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love the A180. So if you can afford it, and if you can afford to put it on the road, just go for it. It's an amazing car. Francis Mwangi saying, hello Eric, can one do an engine and gearbox swap of Probox 2015 to the old shape 2014? Yes, people are doing that. I have seen the Mugoka guys from Embu do that. And one of the reasons why they prefer the old shape is one, the gearbox, and number two, the fact that the 1NZ that was used on that Probox, unlike this particular one, hiyo throttle yake ilikuwa ya cable, so it was a very simple vehicle, and that is why you'll find the 1NZ that has a mechanical throttle, hiyo ya cable, and a 1NZ that has the electronic throttle or a TPS. The 1NZ with that is a bit more mechanical is more expensive because even the demand is high. It is possible, but the cost implication will be quite high. Yes, because you have to change the engine, the gearbox, the wiring harness, the ECU. Yeah, it's going to be quite some work, but it is very much possible. So sometimes you try and look at, is it worth the money I'm spending? If it's not, wachana tu nayo. There's a David Kamomina is saying, I've seen today's video about the Isuzu Como being cheaper than the Nissan NV200. I would rather buy the new Mazda BT50 than Isuzu B-Max because it's significantly cheaper. Actually, that is true. I was also watching another video from Australia on Sunday, and the same case. In the global market, the BT50 is cheaper compared to the Isuzu D-Max. And you see, this is a replica of the same vehicle. The only difference is the body styling, sababu hata mlango ni ya D-Max inaingia kabisa, but fenders, bonnet, lights, panels za nyuma, a few parts on the body, they give it the BT50 look. And in as much as, okay, I don't know, maybe you can vote, but I think the D-Max still looks better than the BT50, but that is subject to, most people would think the BT50 looks better. I don't know, but in my eyes, my opinion is that the D-Max looks better. But the BT50 is cheaper, and it's going to give you the same value the D-Max is going to give you. So yes, you're better off buying it as a BT50. Wilfred White is saying, hello Eric, my B15, how is B15 auto as a first-time car buyer? If you get a clean one, they were actually very good cars, and their parts are not very expensive. Philip Gumba is saying, how to improve visibility on wet asphalt. Sioni barabara usiku yet. I can't weka fog lamps, nitashikwa na polisi. I have halogens now. Factory spec. Dry season naona poa kabisa. Hata lori hudim nikipigia full light. Actually, that is the biggest problem with these halogens, and especially when it rains. And that's why we have accidents when it rains, because sometimes you get into a spot where you can't see the asphalt. Does your vehicle have factory fog lights? Because you can work on them. If you have factory fog lights, you can add the voltage on the fog lights. Also, the other thing you can do is you can adjust your headlights. Could be zinaona juu kidogo, so make sure they ziko a bit lower. And then we start with those before we talk about kuweka projector. Although these days there are projectors that have both a white beam and a warm beam, because white beams in fog and rain, they are trash. But the warm beams that have a yellow effect, not completely yellow, but they have a yellow effect, those ones are good for rain. And like the one on halogen lights, but usiweke zile bulb fulani unaona zikiwekwa za white, those ones will make things worse. Paul Mashari is saying, hey Eric, which is better between ex-Japan shocks and brand new one for Toyotas? Hey Baba,
by nunua tu mpya. Get new ones from a reliable brand, because these ex-Japans, you don't know their lifeline. They are good when you're on a tight budget, but if you want a permanent solution, just get new shocks. Philip Guma anasema super chat ilinisumbua last time I tried. Weka M-Pesa mahali iko visible. Namba yetu inakuanga 0710-844-863. 0710-844-863. Let me just pin it. Iko hapo 07. Let me pin it for you guys. 0710-844-863. I'll pin it baadaye. So let me see. Okay. Philip Gumba is saying, okay, Kenyan Mafia is saying, even today, NV350s inatumika kama ambulance, especially high roof. Yes, and the NV350s that were local. The only problem is that the local Nissan dealer sells them for prices that are very high. But if you're looking at an NV350 local, inakuanga poa sana. If you get a South African one or local one for a reasonable price, they are also very good. Joshua is saying, Toyota RAV4 2019 hybrid and non-hybrid, what would you pick? I'm a non-hybrid person. Non-hybrid any day, anytime. For me, the hybrids are quite reliable as well, but for me, I prefer something I can go to the bush with, do some water crossings, and one that I'll not be afraid of too many electrical work. So non-hybrid works for me. Hooligan Nyirienda is saying, watching from Zambia. Thank you so much for watching us from Zambia. We are also going to pay you a visit soon. Yes, soon we are going to pay you a visit. Jenny is saying, hi Wakabi, I went to a kayak as you instructed, and so that neither Subaru Impreza or Mazda in Tenza fits my comfort needs. Please advise. So if no Subaru Impreza or Mazda at Tenza suits your comfort needs, then especially with the Tenza, the Tenza is big. If the Tenza does not suit your comfort needs, you might look at a Crown. A Crown might just blow off your mind. Yes, angalia Toyota Crown. It's more expensive, but if your comfort needs are that much, look for a Crown. Vlog on the go is saying, been looking at an NV200 used interior business. Why are they so cheap? What's an estimate for the gearbox and engines? NV200s are actually very good vehicles, by the way. In fact, they are giving the Proboxes a run for their money. One thing about the NV200 is that it does not come with the CVT transmission. It comes with the 4-speed automatic transmission, which is quite reliable. Their engines are also quite good. The HR16s, they are not bad. They have been tried and tested on the Nissan lineup. The only problems that you would have with these vehicles is if you don't take care of your cooling system, well, sometimes you might experience overheating issues. And the other thing, electricals. In case you want to change your coils, make sure you get original shooting coils, because ukiweka imbo, if you use the counterfeit, let me use English for the sake of our viewers in Zambia. If you use the non-genuine coils, they are not going to serve you at all. Let's continue. Gary Tush is saying, what's the biggest hurdle would you encounter if you bought a new 79 double cab from SA, made it proper off-road and drive it to Nairobi and don't focus on the money? I saw one in Nairobi going for 20 million. Well, there would be no hurdle per se, because as long as you use the correct methods of exportation, that is, make sure that the vehicle has been inspected, and then get a police clearance certificate. The other thing is make sure it's deregistered in SA, then you have and get an export certificate. Yeah. So I don't think there are hurdles with exporting vehicles from South Africa. In fact, it's not as complicated as many people make it look like. Sawa. Gilidwell is saying Nissan 2 1CK. However, I need a relatively new AWD 4x4 but cannot afford a Prado with a 2 million budget. An X-Trail looks good alternative. Is there a specific X-Trail model that I can die for? Yes, if you get the T32 with a manual transmission, itakusaidia. But if you get it with the CVT and the other hybrid one, you might suffer. So unless it's a manual, I don't think it would be very wise. Yeah. Alex Kaka is saying Wakabi tuko sawa, locked from Saudi Arabia. Thank you, asante sana Alex. I'm happy that you guys are safe and sound and you're joining us here. Let me see. Andrew Sergio is saying si kuambia Corolla 110 mtu anafaa kuangalia rust kwanza. I'm having to buy my bati tuchomelee chini. Yes, you see all these cars. One of the rule of the thumb, always check for rust. Angalia tu rust. Maswad is saying, hi Eric, I noted how 8x4 gaining popularity in Northeastern. However, the FN627 is a legendary workhorse known for the long-term reliability. Can it be trusted for reliability, longevity, and rugged terrain? So the Hawas they have been proved to be quite reliable. They are, I can't say, but you see, they are still new, so we need to give them time. And in fact, most of the people who are buying Hawas for treacherous jobs, like sending it to Northeastern, are still in their trial phases. I can confirm this because I've spoken to a few. Wanasema wacha tujaribu. But to be honest, the whole has crazy torque, crazy power. It has very good fuel economy if the driver knows what they are doing. And they are not too sophisticated. But what I can say is the FN627 can never be replaced. Mahewa ilikuwa a very good car that would survive even the very, 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 even the most treacherous of terrains. So yeah, I can clearly say that the whole, let's give it time, but so far so good. I will not give any negative comments about the Hawas because they are proving that also the Chinese can build trucks. You see, the Hawas and the FAWs have proven themselves in the long haul business. So even in the treacherous zones, and once we get a reliable flow of spare parts, it will be very easy to own these Chinese vehicles. And we proceed. Wilkie is saying Mazda diesel, is it okay for first-time car buyer? Which vehicle? Which particular Mazda diesel? Paul Kimemi is saying, hi CK, following from Langata, karibu sana. Paul Kimgetich Rono, I can confirm that I'm safe in Rongai. No lion has escaped in the recent past. Rongai. What about the floods? Have they got to you? Josh Homan, thanks for the reminder. I just did. Okay. So Evans Mugambi is saying, hello Eric, I'm looking at a BMW X1 with a B48 petrol engine. Is it true that it gives better consumption than the 2.0 TSI on a Tiguan? Which is the better buy? Evans Mugambi, I would, if I was to, yes, if you're looking at a B48, you're playing safe, which is a good thing. But I'll tell you one thing for sure. For me, I would choose the Volkswagen. I would go for the Volkswagen because as is we have more support for Volkswagens. So yes, B48's not bad, but if you're to have a problem with a serious problem with a VW and another serious problem with a BMW, the VW, you actually have more technical support for VWs than for BMWs. So it's also good to weigh your options. And then saying that in terms of fuel consumption, I think you need to look at also more factors that you would consider and also get to understand that there are other factors there are other costs other than just the cost of fuel. You also need to look at even the general performance on the vehicle, things like ground clearance. And one advantage is, you see, the Volkswagen Tiguan with the 2.0 TDI, it comes with the 4Motion as standard. Yeah, so you're buying a proper vehicle. It's very exciting to drive. I've driven one. If you combine a DSG and the torque of that diesel engine, I'm telling you, the only way is get to drive a Tiguan diesel, and then ukuja hapo ni utupatie your findings. Hey Eric Wakabi, nataka Audi A5 locally used, budget ya 1.5 and an extra to 50k in case any serious services. ni ya Instagram too na Instagram short. If you have like 250k extra, then buy the car. But even hata kama ukiwa na extra, always make sure you get a clean car. Otherwise ukipata imechokorwa inaweza it can easily take up all that money that you have saved ya kando. Mombogu is saying, do you help diaspora that wants to bring back a car without tax? Mombogu, yes we do. Yes we do. So you can drop us a text on just drop a WhatsApp, and I'll repeat slowly so that you can get to have the number 0710 844 863. That is our official WhatsApp number. So drop a WhatsApp number there. Yes, we do assist with bringing cars for returning residents. In fact, we have done that before, and it's something that we would assist you in. So yes, just drop us a WhatsApp message and I'll get back to you first thing in the morning. Sawa sawa. Dark Horse, but Mombugwa, there are some documents you will need to furnish us with so that we can make the whole process seamless. Dark Horse is watching from Jinja. Thanks for the show. Thank you so much. Say hi to the guys in Jinja. Jinja is one of my favorite towns in Uganda. In fact, in terms of my preferences for cities or towns in Uganda, Jinja comes number 1, and then Kampala number 2, and number 3 has to be, these are the that city, not Masaka, the one after Masaka, on your way to toward the Rwanda border. There is one, nitaikumbuka nitakwambia, that city. Yes. Jenny here saying thank you very much. Annex Rose is saying hi Eric, nataka Audi A5. Annex, yo jibu nimepatiana. David Duo saying hey Eric, review the local 0 mileage Suzuki Fronx. I will be working on that soon enough. But if you're looking for a good car for point A to point B that is reliable and has amazing features, the Fronx is one car that you need to really look out for. Haina mambo mingi ati ya performance, but when it comes to reliability and the features, you get it in the Fronx. Max Harrison is saying, hi Wakabi, I want to get a comfortable 5-star rating, safety, fuel efficient and easy to maintain vehicle and has driver. Let me see. Okay, let me repeat that question. Max is saying, hi Wakabi, I want to get a comfortable 5-star rating on safety, fuel efficient, easy to maintain, and has driver assist control. Which car can you advise? I would like to know what your budget is for, because there is a very broad spectrum that we might not be able to cover on this live show. So maybe you can give us a little bit more of the cars you have in mind, because there are so many. Kuna a very broad spectrum, and also the budget really varies. Who else? Wizliki is saying, hey Eric, I was asking for Mazda CX5 and CX3 diesel, okay for first time car buyer. Yes, it's okay as long as you get to drive the car. Also make sure that you observe a very meticulous service habit, and it will serve you well. But most importantly, make sure that car umeiendesha vizuri na umeweka oil sawa, then you will be good to go. You don't really have to worry about much. The only problem with the Mazda diesels is if something goes wrong with the engine, it goes terribly wrong. Yeah, so but observe a very meticulous service habit and use the correct oil. And one thing that is ignored, make sure you drive the car, make sure your DPF is healthy, make sure the fuel you use is also good quality. Usiende kuweka gari mafuta huko kwa mitaro. Yeah, and it will serve you quite well. Krant is saying, hi Eric, can I get a Toyota Estima locally used with a budget of less than 1 million? If not, recommend reliability and fuel consumption is in mind. Okay, Krant, wait, before you chose the Estima, I don't think the Estima is a car with good fuel economy, comparing it to other minivans, especially the ones with the 2.4 liter. So, but yes, you can find an Estima. They look good. even with that budget, where's the cost? But the Estimas are not cars that you need to look for one. Estimas sometimes they are not very popular, but yeah, they are not bad cars as well. Apart from hapo kwa fuel economy. James Caniero is saying, hello Eric, enjoying the show. I currently have a Vitz and want to upgrade to a Honda Fit. Is it prudent to get a Honda Fit RS or a hybrid with low maintenance cost and quite a reliable car? If you're looking for reliability, go for the non-hybrid. Yes, if you're looking for reliability, because the hybrids are good, but that problem with the dual clutch transmission is actually a menace, especially amongst Honda Fit owners. If you have to get a hybrid one, make sure you get a hybrid one that is 2020 plus, because they changed the transmission on that, and they used a better transmission, which is the eCVT, the CVT that has a set of planetary gears. So if you're looking for that, kama lazima ununue hybrid, nunua 2020 and above. If not, buy an unhybrid, and that car will serve you very well. Juma Flavian is saying, I'm seeing very affordable Nissan Navaras na kitu 750k. Are they? We wachana nayo kabisa. Not unless your hobby is you are a mechanic, you have a hobby in being a mechanic, and you have a huge budget to work on your hobby. Otherwise, Navaras hazitakangi mchezo. Trevor Maina is saying, is it advisable to get a Hyundai in Kenya? Depends on which one, but generally they are not bad cars. Mugaisa Diora is saying, hi Okabi, which is better? Suzuki Wagon R, Nissan Days, they have to move for Uber business. In my list, I would start with the Wagon R, the Daihatsu Move, and lastly, Nissan Days. Samuel Kanyere saying, what's your view on Volvos, especially the XC40 and 60 in Kenya in terms of reliability and reliability? Volvos are very good cars. They are very safe, quite reliable. And if you're looking at the XC60s or XC40, one, these cars will give you features and even a driving experience that is quite rare to find in another vehicle. Volvos are known for safety, so you'll be very safe driving one. The only thing is that Volvo hazipendi kuchokorwa. Volvos don't like mechanics who are doing more of a trial and error fixing. Volvos don't like, shortcuts. Volvos, if you're replacing a part, make sure you replace with a genuine part. Also, make sure you get a mechanic who understands Volvos, because they are not Volvos. When it comes to fixing Volvos, they are not for boys. You have to get somebody who has had an experience with Volvo and somebody who knows Volvos very well. So they are good cars. Just make sure you get a good mechanic to service the car, and with that, you're going to enjoy the vehicle for a long time to come. Fuadi. Huyu ni yule Fuadi wa Miraa. Fuadi, kama wewe ni yule Fuadi wa Miraa bana, big up. Kama ni Fuadi mwingine pia receive salamu zangu. Is the Nissan Note reliable? It is not bad, but you have to take care of it. You cannot abuse a Nissan Note the way Toyota Vitz or Honda Fit can be abused. But yeah, it's fairly reliable. People have lived around with them. They are good on fuel economy. They are quite spacious, but they cannot stand abuse. Anthony Kingori is saying, Toyota Harrier with better fuel economy, 2016 model, between GS and... No, I think the Harriers with the 2-liter and the CVT transmission, they are very good for fuel economy. However, they are very boring to drive. If you want a Harrier that will give you, will make you have something to look forward to when you're driving, buy the Toyota Harrier ASU 65, the one that comes with a 2-liter turbocharged 8AR engine and a 6-speed automatic transmission. Ngugi James is saying, do you think Suzuki Jimny is very overhyped kwa price yake, and what it really offer? And Suzuki, I think the Jimny is one of the vehicles that does not have a vehicle in its class, because Jimnys are actually very capable when it comes to them going off-road. And it's hard to find a replacement for a Jimny. That's something I'll tell you for free. About the price, yes, they are overpriced, but supply, demand, and also the other factors that push the prices up. But Jimnys are very good vehicles and they are almost irreplaceable. Brimac Investment saying, hi Wakabi, the VW Max 7 1.4 or Peugeot 308 Wagon 1.2 GT line for family use and road trips. I would go for the Max 7 as my first option, then the Peugeot as my second option. One of the reasons why I'm putting the Peugeot second is because the 1.2L comes with the wet timing. And one thing about that wet timing is that it can show you bad things if you're not careful enough, if you don't service your vehicle in time, and if you don't change the timing belt in time as well. So that's why I would put the Max 7 as number 1 and the Peugeot as number 2. Also say something about the Golf 1400cc and its DSG gearbox. Is it reliable? One thing about the DSG gearbox is that it's a gearbox that is meant for giving you the thrill of driving. It's not a bad gearbox, but there is so much that goes wrong, the mechatronic units, the clutches themselves. But if you get somebody who knows how to properly service a DSG, it will serve you well. And before you buy that vehicle with a DSG, first make sure that the vehicle is in good condition and that DSG does not show any abnormal signs like juddering when driving, delaying shifting, or bringing some funny smells. Jilid was saying, hi Eric, a famous local blogger advised against locally used cars from Mombasa. Instead, we stick to the ones in Kanairo. What's your view, since Mombasa cars are cheaper, especially with that Jamawama deals? Well, Mombasa vehicles, you see, one thing I'll tell you is that I would not say vehicles in a particular geographical location are bad. One thing that Mombasa, the problem with Mombasa is rust, because there's a lot of humidity in Mombasa. So when you're buying a local used car in Mombasa, the first thing you look at is make sure the undercarriage is rust free. The other thing I have to let you guys know is that you see the vehicles that are being sold in Mombasa are local used. Most of them zinanuliwangwa up country Amabara as gari za deal, then they go to be resold again in Mombasa, because Mombasa is a car selling hub. And the reason why of late there are so many locally used vehicles being sold in Mombasa is because most of the time somebody will come to Mombasa and realize they do not have enough money to buy the vehicle they had come to purchase. And so the locally used vehicles present a good alternative. So in Mombasa, you can get a very good locally used vehicle as long as you do a thorough inspection of the vehicle and make sure it is rust-free, because rust is the biggest problem. So when somebody tells you to avoid them, I think that would be a blanket judgment, which is not necessarily accurate, because you can also get a rusty car in Nairobi. We have seen so many. Yeah, so I think there's no need for alarm in buying a locally used vehicle in Mombasa. You just have to make sure you inspect it properly to make sure that it does not have any signs of rust. Isaac Kirongo, Isuzu Elf, Toyota Dyna, Hino Dutro, or Mitsubishi 4P10, which is the most reliable truck? So Isaac Kirongo, I want to put this truck by truck. So if you're looking at the Toyota Dyna and Hino Dutro, these are the same truck. Hino Dutro, Dyna ni gari moja. So it will come with either the 1KD engine or the N04C for the bigger ones. So Hino Dutro, Dyna, same vehicle, just different name. So allow me to put them in the list of in the list of reliability. Number one, when you talk about the Isuzu Elf, you're talking about the Suzuki Elf. No, if you talk, sorry, not Suzuki. If you talk about the Isuzu Elf, you're talking about the foreign used, the one we call Mutumba, not the local one, because the difference between these cars is actually, these trucks is actually quite much. The local one is very reliable. and it can withstand a lot of abuse. So I would advise you to buy the Dyna or the Hino Dutro, and this is the reason why. If you buy an Isuzu Elf, and if you have to buy an Isuzu Elf, just make sure it is not the one that comes with an AMT, the automated manual transmission. Make sure you buy one that has the kawaida manual transmission. If you go towards the side of the Dyna or the Hino Dutro, even the automatic transmissions are not bad. Only that sometimes people especially who are doing some heavy jobs with them, they will prefer the manual. Ama ndio maana unaona in case iharibike, they just swap it with the manual transmission. But even a Dyna or Hino Dutro with the auto is still not bad. Only that the manual is preferred for hard work. So the Hino Dutro Dyna comes at number 1. Number 2 comes with the Isuzu Elf, and it has to be the Isuzu Elf that comes with a manual transmission, not the automated manual transmission, because those automated manual transmissions, they are good for light deliveries, but the moment you start ferrying heavy loads on that vehicle, they also show you bad things. Let's go to the other one. Mitsubishi 4P10 will show you bad things. And I wind up. So Hino Dutro, Toyota Dyna, and Isuzu Elf. Those are the 2 go-to foreign used trucks. Anthony is saying Harrier GS or Normal, which has a better fuel economy and major differences? There is no difference between Harrier GS and Normal. Need body kit too. Hakuna tofauti ingine. Engine, gearbox, the same. The only Harrier that has a difference is the Harrier that is called the ASU60 or the ASU65, and that is because they come with a 2-liter turbocharged engine and a 6-speed automatic transmission. So ingine GS ni kawaida tu, ni venye tu imewekwa tu, but GR is different because now GR is an ASU, meaning it comes with the 8AR engine turbocharged with a 6-speed automatic transmission. But GS haina tofauti na Harrier kawaida, ni tu madoido na urembo kidogo, but it's the same damn thing. There is no even difference when it comes to fuel economy. Francis Mwangi is saying, why did Toyota Kenya stop on manufacturing of the Rush? First of all, Toyota Kenya was not manufacturing the Rush because the Rush is not brought in as a CKD. The Rush is not assembled. It's shipped as a complete unit. So I don't know why. I cannot tell why. I've not even noticed that Toyota Kenya that Sifao is not selling the Rush. I would have to also find out. Josh Homan is saying probably low demand. Yes, I agree. It could be. Maybe the sales are not doing very well. Plus, I also found that Rush to be very awkward because it came as rear wheel. Yes, rear wheel drive, 1500cc, and it didn't come with a 4-wheel drive option. So if you happen to get stuck in the mud or in the grass, you will have one very long day or night. Bob Kent is saying, hi Eric, deliberating between getting the Crown S200 series or a Golf Mark 6. Fuel economy ain't an issue since the car will be used once per week. Then if fuel economy is not an issue, I will be tempted to throw a dice in between these comparisons. So the Crown S200 is a luxury sedan, big, spacious, big engine, very comfortable. The Golf Mark 6 is a hatchback, small, fast, and totally different from this other one. So I think it all narrows down to preference, because comparing a Crown S200 to a Mark 6 is comparing mangoes to apples in this case. Harrison Derito is saying, hey Eric, would you advise someone to go for a local used Nissan Tiana? No. Emmanuel Gitao, how's Mazda Demio on fuel economy, reliability, and longevity? Which Mazda Demio, the diesel or petrol? But generally, they have very good fuel economy. The petrol ones are very reliable. They are not as fast as the diesel ones, but they are very reliable. They are also good on fuel economy. Yeah, they are good cars. They are not bad cars. Jesse Ngeno is saying, hi Eric, why is that the Toyota Vitz has gone up in value? A few years back, you would get one 900k to 1.2. Actually, not only the Vitz, even the Honda Fit. The Honda Fit right now is going for like between 1.5 and 1.6. The Mazda Demio over 1.3 million Kenya shillings. Hizi gari zilikuwa under a million. So even the Nissan Note, you cannot get it for 900 like we used to. So yeah, it's not only the Toyota Vitz, it's all vehicles that the prices have skyrocketed. Spider Marine say, good evening, pokea salamu from Jeff kutoka Homa Bay. I love your work. Thank you so much, sir. I also really appreciate. Kevin Wekesa is saying, compare CX5 and Mitsubishi Outlander on safety, fuel efficiency, and reliability. Kevin Wekesa, the CX5 beats the Outlander in everything, apart from one, only that sometimes you'll have Outlanders that have a third row of seats, making them 7-seaters. But the Mazda CX5 is way better compared to the Mitsubishi Outlander. That's something I'll tell you. It's the CX5 is on a league of its own, from performance, comfort, features, even responsiveness and reliability. It's hard to beat the CX5. Tuendelee. Emmanuel Getonga is saying, Eric, VW Mark 7 variant or a Tenza wagon 2.2 diesel? This one is a difficult one, because both have their pros and cons. In terms of their Tenza will give you reliability and a lot of torque and very good fuel. Well, if you're to ask me, this would narrow down to a personal preference, because most people would say the Mazda diesel sometimes can be problematic, but also the variants can also be problematic with the gearbox, and also their let me say their maintenance could also be slightly higher compared to those of the Mazda Tenza. So I feel this would boil down to personal preference. Yeah, it would boil down to personal preference. Although even personally, if I was to get the two, well, there are vehicles I have not considered, but if you want, both are very exciting to drive, both look good, only that now their transmissions are very different, because on the Tenza you have a 6-speed automatic, torque converter automatic. On the variant you have a DSG. On the diesel you have a 2.2-liter diesel engine, very good for torque and performance, and also very good fuel economy. On the variant you have the 1.4 2-liter, 1.4 to 11 or 2-liter 888, but both of them are good as well. Very good on fuel economy, but it also depends on what is your long-term goal, because that's a very tricky one right there. In fact, for this one, I don't know where to go, but both are good cars, only that the VW will not withstand as much abuse as the Tenza. So we have 4 minutes to go. Let me see. Kevin Wekesa, compare CX5 and I think I've done that. Steve Rotich is saying, what would be the best available car you can advise to go that is efficient with a good... Okay, we need to have budgets and stuff like that, so that we need to have a budget so that we can know which car we can put in for that budget. Emmanuel Gitawe is saying, compare Lexus RX 350 to a Toyota Harrier. I will tell you that those cars are in different categories, mostly because of the engine displacement. And the other thing is Lexus has a more luxurious offering comparing it to a Harrier. So let me also look at this. Okay. Michael Ekabi, hello Eric. Is it true that the first generation Toyota Vitz had more power than this other generation? Let's say a comparison of a 2000 Vitz 1300cc and a 2013 Vitz 1300cc. I would say the biggest difference is in the gearbox. Yeah, because these current ones are coming with the CVTs. So yes, hi Eric, I was considering getting the E43 Mercedes. Is it a good car? It's a very good car for enthusiasts. So guys, thank you so much for joining us on this live broadcast. Kesho nitawekea video since wadau wamesema tuweke hiyo video kesho 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. you will have that video about that trip I made yesterday with the Prado. Also get to learn 1, 2, 3 things about the Toyota Prado J120, because of late it's in high demand, and the demand for J120s is about to go higher because we are entering the political season. In fact, if you're thinking of buying an SUV, maybe the best time to buy one would be either now before siasa zichache, ama after politics, when now they'll be being sold at throwaway prices. Then the people who love fixing them, like we can buy them and fix them and resell them, because it's also flipping vehicles is also a business in its own. So have a good night, guys. Thank you so much for the company. See you next time, Wednesday, same time, same place. Over and out, guys.